finish doing that video and then do some field day, since I've already got all this stuff set up out here. It's like
Do you have plenty of water?
water is in. Yeah, I mean, I'm at home. I'm not in a
Yeah.
park.
Well, I mean, I just looking out for you. You don't really see the sunlight that
Oh,
often, and you might get dehydrated.
well, I'm under my carport, which you can just barely see the edge of. Well, I'm not under it. I'm kind of off center of it a little bit, but
You're in the shade.
protects me from the morning shade, the morning sun. This is setting up outside. I spent some time yesterday looking at angles and everything, and it was the afternoon when I was looking because I had planned it. I want to do a little field day outside on a battery, right? I want to do a 1E. I did some 1D FT8 yesterday. Uh, Made about 50 or 60 contacts. 40 meters was in fuego yesterday. 20,
Yeah.
okay, but 40 was fire. And you people who are playing FT8 on field day, don't answer people who are CQ in field day, because then WSJTX does not work right. And I had several people that it would like, this is not a valid field day thing.
Oh, they were calling CQ wrong?
So there's a setting in WSJTX
Yeah.
under advanced, I think, to tell it you're doing field day. And when you're doing field day, it says CQ field, CQFD, and then your call sign. But then it also changes your responses. So it doesn't send the normal FT8 response sequence. It says, for me, it was 1D, 1DAL on power, one op in Alabama. But if the other side is not doing field day FT8, then WSJTX it never doesn't want to work right.
So both parties have to participate in field day to participate in field day. That's weird.
Yeah, it seemed to be a little inconsistent. I don't know. And 40 meters was, I mean, the band for FT8 was just, I mean, it was just full, and it worked really well until you got those randos who were not doing field day FT8, or the Europeans who weren't doing field day. Because I had a couple of those, and I'm like, and then WSJTX has this separate little log window. It pops up when you're doing field day where it shows you all your field day QSOs, because I think you can export them then directly into Cabrillo format if you want to upload it to be
So
official.
I was thinking the other day, that's how you know it's a contest, is if it uses Cabrillo log file format for the official transfer
Right,
of record. And POTA doesn't
right.
use Cabrillo. So that's how you know that POTA is not a contest.
Well, we talked about this on Coffee and Ham Radio's Thursday night. We were going over the rules for field day, and the rules for field day are more complicated than getting a pilot's license, honestly, having done
Hmm.
both. I mean, it's like you can only start setting up this amount of time before, and you can't spend more than 24 hours setting up. And if you, I don't, it's just, oh my God, it's so complicated. And I'm sure some of you guys in the chat were there also, but it
Well,
was like,
Ronnie wants to add an extra rule already. Like there's not enough.
well, we could do that, and we don't need official blessing from anybody. We just move somewhere.
Yeah.
What, like 7078 maybe, or 7080 or something like that.
Yeah. I think
I don't,
7080 is JS8 call.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look and see what's currently set up in use, but yeah, we could push that. We could just do a specific field day frequency so only the cool kids could make contacts, and then
That's not a bad idea. Somebody's going to have to take a look at the rules and see what it's like to have multiple stations in a club call all across the country cooperating on the same day. I don't know if that's
wow.
legal or not. So we would do K-Toad's field day on Ham Nuggets, but we wouldn't do it Monday night. We'd do a special Saturday edition.
Right.
Something to look into.
That'd be pretty cool. So have any of you guys, did you field day at all? Steve, what about y'all in the chat?
I
Anybody?
did not field day. So it's a really weird situation where we're leaving the campsite today, and so I didn't want to get a whole bunch of stuff set up yesterday only to tear it down today. And then last night we had a freak storm come out of nowhere where it was actually raining on half of the trailer and not on the other half.
Mm.
Very weird. And huge winds. Like we had two big bursts of like 60-mile-an-hour winds back to back, just shaking everything up. So
Bill,
I avoided
I
radio.
am outside, Bill. So yes, it's hot. Find some
I
shade and
think
hydrate.
I do believe Jim just told you to man up, Bill.
That's cowboy up, Bill. Cowboy up. My old fat ass is outside in the heat. I could be sitting in air-conditioned comfort right now, sipping on hot coffee.
Oh,
I barely had any coffee this morning.
Lee, we might be able to do that. Toads across America.
So we just pass it off.
Well, 300 meters. Yeah. So if you were within 300 meters of another toad, that would be pretty cool.
But then so we couldn't simultaneously, but we could like
So
every hour switch operator locations.
yeah, yeah. So if there's a conglomeration, a conflagration of toads in, like, say,
Yeah.
Texas, they could do it from 1 to 2, and then another conflagration of toads in Arizona could do it from 2 to 3, and so on. It would require some coordination, and we're about as coordinated as two old, large white men can be. Mesh
Right.
toad stick, I like that too.
I dance like when people are watching and when no one's watching, it's the same either way. It's uncoordinated chicken with palsy, basically.
Right.
A chunky chicken. Mesh toad stick. Well, yeah, I'm thinking so we could move like east to west, right? We could start with East Coast toads, maybe the Atlantic seaboard, and then the second row of eastern states, and kind of just move east to west and follow the sun or something. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Right.
I like that idea. It could happen. So yeah, I did, and I saw somebody else did FT8. I was doing FT8 last night. I was trying to work on a video yesterday. I had some other stuff I was doing here, and I just finally, the weather here has been terrible. It's supposed to thunderstorm here again today, so that's why I decided to stream out here today, because I need to finish a video, which is going to be outside part, and it's like I got to get it done this morning, or it probably ain't going to happen until next weekend, maybe.
Right.
At this time.
At this time.
Well, I mean, it's for the simple reason it's the weather here, and it's typical Alabama weather. It heats up the afternoon. It may or may not thunderstorm, and you know.
I had some
I was
weird.
on 40. I was on 40 all night, almost 40.
I had some weird. I don't know what you would call it, but when we're at Montesano, we're up on top of a mountaintop, and it is fairly cool and nice. So I went to do a soda this past week on Scottsbluff National Monument, and it was in the 60s temperature-wise on the thermometer, but it was direct sunlight on top of the mountain, and I'm like sweating like crazy, and my radio is so hot that I can't pick it up. Like, I don't want to touch it. It burns your fingers when you touch it. You know, black radio and direct sunlight on top of a mountaintop is weird. And I've never experienced that before, where it's like 60 degrees outside, but the direct sunlight makes it 110.
Yeah. Well, radiant heat is underappreciated. You know, when you're sitting in the sun, it will warm everything up, and the darker it is, the hotter you'll get, or the device will get. I've actually had an iPhone shut itself off because it got too hot. We were at the fire station on a Saturday, I think, doing like some kind of training or something, and my phone was sitting on a table outside, and I went to use it or whatever, and it said it was powered off due to heat or some message like that. Yeah. Well, you know,
I ran into that coming out of
ahead.
Montesano last year, where the phone on the dashboard in the truck was too hot, even though the truck's got its air conditioning and its ridiculously dark tinted windows and everything. So I had to turn the blower of the AC to blow onto the radio so I could blow onto the phone so I could keep my GPS going.
Oh yeah. We kept IV fluids in the wintertime on the dashboard of the trucks, or we'd put some there while we were out in the truck driving around, so we could have warmish IV fluids instead of potentially cold, because I'm sure the patient would appreciate that.
That kills, yeah.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? Dang it. I don't remember. I don't remember. But anyway, I intend to try and do some phone field day today, at least until I'm too miserable to sit out here. But the problem is it's so humid out here, where I'm at. Montesano is a lot better because it's much less humid up there. But down here in the Montgomery, Alabama River Valley area, it's a little toasty and sweaty at the same time. The heat thing, oh, that's what I was going to say, the heat thing. So, I did some 3D printed rail kits for radios, and I had one individual who was like, I wouldn't put no plastic rails, they'll melt and it won't do any good. And I'm
Okay,
like,
don't.
well, yeah, that was my first thought. My second thought was, listen, unless you're going to leave it sitting outside in direct sunlight for several hours, I don't think it's really a problem. And let's be honest, fellas, how many of y'all are going to sit with your radio in direct sunlight when it's that hot outside for several hours contiguously? No.
Yeah, I didn't do any filming of the POTA activation as a result of that.
And the radio will get, and like Steve's already mentioned, the radio is going to get just as hot because they don't make radios in tan or off-white. They make them in black. You can have any color radio as long as it's black.
Right. You got to
For
go to
HF
China
radios.
for colored radios.
Well, I mean, other than your N76 or the odd Fang, right? They're all black.
Well, you've got that 7200 sitting in front of you there. That's an aftermarket paint job.
Yeah, right. Right. It's actually covered with a towel right now. It's still in the bag. I need to do a video on the bag, and I may do one today since I have all this stuff out here. But I bought a bag for the 7200 because I intend to bring it to Huntsville. And it is and I'm going to get this wrong. It's a military radio bag for the Falcon 2 radio set. I got it on eBay for about 60 or 70 bucks, and it fits the 7200 perfectly with enough room on top to lay microphone and power cable and, ancillary cables and stuff. And it's pretty swank. And, it's designed for the radio guy in the field to wear as a backpack. And then it's got various places to hook on mics, and you would have a whip antenna sticking up off of it or something. It's not really designed for a 7200 where the antenna connector's on the bottom, but I can work with that. It's not like I'm going to be walking around with that heavy bastard doing, HF or whatever, but I needed a bag for it, so.
I love how
Anyway.
ICOM names their radios too. Like the 7100 is a mobile radio that you install in your car with a non-attachable radio control surface, the faceplate, if you will, but it's not a faceplate since you can't attach it. It was never designed to be attached, unlike the 2930 that you got. So that's the 7100.
2730, but yeah.
That's the 7100 is the mobile radio. The 7200 is this weird, like console style radio that has nothing in common with the 7100 other than maybe the USB port. Nope, different kind of USB port on the back. The 7300 is a base station radio. Like these three radios have nothing in common to where you would think the 7200 is an upgrade to the 7100 and the 7300 is an upgrade to the 7200. Nah.
Right. And let's throw in the 7000. So the 7000 color screen, and if I remember correctly, it's a standard
Mobile.
brick shape mobile-ish radio. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 706 form factor. So they had the 703, then they had the 706, the 706 Mark II, the 706 Mark II-G, and then the upgrade to that was the 7000. And the 703 was a QRP rig with a tuner built in instead of an all-band, all-mode shack-in-a-box type mobile. So yeah, again, these three things that are not the same. The 706 and the 7000 are closer. Like the 7000 is a natural progression of the 706 feature set, technologies, etc. Yeah, exactly, Ken.
It does, and I guess it comes with the
nice
front
looking radio.
grab handles. Yeah, it's a beautiful radio. I've been wanting one. I think my next radio acquisition might be a 7000. I want to look at one of those. If I stumble across one, I'll probably get it. But They seem like cool radios. I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad out here. It's humid, guys. There's a little bit of a breeze, and I have a fan blowing on me. Thank God for portable power stations. Afery and Hepway to the rescue, and all powers.
I hadn't thought about using Reflectix to protect radios. That's a good idea, Christopher. Thank you. And I would not doubt that the 7000 is a power hog, but this is the weird thing. The 7000 isn't designed to be a portable radio. It's designed to be a mobile radio.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, use up all that power. Your car is just wasting most of its power generation capabilities.
Right. Most of that is heat, keeping the air conditioner running.
Right.
Your audio is spot on this morning, dude.
Cool.
Did you change microphones or something?
I moved the microphone to be here because it used to be behind the screen coming over, and then the microphone was blocking the screen, which is kind of a pain in the butt. And then every so often, Mac OS will go in and, auto gain control my mic down. And I'm like, I didn't ask you to do that. There's not a way to turn it off. So I have to keep turning it back on. Yeah.
Yeah. I have been streaming on, and I'm on a MacBook Pro this morning. I moved my streaming operation to an M2 Pro several weeks ago because Windows was just randomly messing with the audio settings. And it's interesting in the Mac because it doesn't look like you can adjust the gain control in the Mac for that microphone stuff I use at all. It's there, which I'm kind of fine with because that means I can just set it in the mixer where I want it set and leave it alone kind of deal.
Yep.
Windows has a little slider for the inputs, and that thing has been down at like 10 without me changing it, and it's been all the way up at 80 without me changing it. And I'm like, what are you doing? No touch. Worse than a 3-year-old kid in a candy store grabbing everything.
Right. So we've got Windows automatic gain control. You've got a mixer. Then we've got signal processing for compression to upload it to YouTube, and then YouTube does some more signal processing on it to get it out to you guys. So we're fighting the devils, plural.
Indeed. Mike Dixon is close to me, yeah, and you can see what the 87% humidity and a dew point of 73. Lee, I apologize. It's kind of hard to I was getting all this stuff set up, and it's a different streaming setup than I normally have. I don't think I can get it any louder without screwing with the microphone, and that will probably disconnect things. Let's see what StreamYard is. Let me turn off reduce background noise. I don't know if that's any better.
And now I can hear your fan.
Now you can hear the fan, yeah.
And some crickets and some birds. It's not bad, though. You're outdoors.
I hear birds. I hear cicadas, yeah.
Cicadas. Every time your mic opened up, I could hear the cicadas come back in.
Yeah. Aloysius, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Totally.
Aloysius, is that a picture of you, or is that a picture of an actor? I think I've seen that
does
facial
not look
expression.
Like Aloysius. I have met Aloysius. That is not what he looks like. He's undercover. And Cordbread said it sounds fine. Yeah. My volume relative to Steve is more the problem. And I know, guys, that is one of the biggest pains. You guys notice it. We sound perfectly fine to each other.
Right. And then we hit the go live button, and then all the sounds change again. Mm-hmm. It's very weird.
What you guys are hearing is not what we're hearing, and it's annoying. Chavez, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate it.
Good morning, Chavez. Chavez was here early this morning, I think. Yeah.
There were several of them in here. What's up, AFL? While we're here, and AFL is in the chat and apparently awake and not too hungover today, are you, Steve?
Other Steve,
yeah. The AFL Steve. Steve is the VEC for the Toads Clubhouse exam team. Exam team. So if you want to upgrade your license, or if you don't have one and you want to get a ham license and join the Nerd Club with the rest of us, you can reach out to AFL directly. He's on Discord. or you can hit up me or TO, and we can absolutely get things coordinated. We have
Yeah.
a scheduled test monthly on the first
It was
Monday at 6
fourth
p.m.
Monday of the month. It
Fourth
was
Monday.
last Monday that we did it. We had
Okay.
2 people pass.
Awesome. And so we do a scheduled one. And of course, Tio and I are generally not going to be there because we're generally going to be doing a live stream in an hour. But we also can schedule at other times if there's extenuating circumstances or whatever. But reach out to any of the three of us. We have to talk to Steve because he's the only one with the real juice. We're just plebes. He's the man. And we're VEs through Glarg, and I'm ARRL as well, and I think TO is too.
ARL. Yeah, I am. I'm also Laurel. I'm not W5YI yet, I don't think.
Okay. But we do. We'll do that on the fly. You know, it depends. We got to get enough VEs together to sit there and watch you test. We need generally 3 people per tester. So, and if you are a VE, join Glarg and help us out. And if you're not a VE and you're a general or better, you should be. Let's see. What else is in news? Oh, I kind of missed it, but TO did a live stream Friday night,
Yep.
and we talked about FDIA again, and I am excited about that. We have the ham radio. I hope I get the right one. Is that ham radio duo?
Yes,
Becky
Mike and Becky.
Mike. And I can't remember either one of their call signs off the top of my head. Becky's is like N4BKY, and I don't
N4
remember
BKY
Mike's.
and N4 FFF.
So they are. Hey, Dave. Dave is going to go field day, I assume, since he said he's hopping on the radio. Awesome.
13 colonies is interesting. We might do that.
Next week, I'm down. I've
Like
I've
another
gotten some
like
of them, but I've never
contacts
gotten
from the
to sweep.
shacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's the sweep and then there's the triple play. I don't know what they call it, but there's like I got all 13 colonies plus the Great Britain support station and the other special station.
I would wonder that the Great Britain support station might be a little salty on 13 Colonies Day. I don't know if they're over there
Yeah,
yet or not. But
GB13COL or GB3COL or something like that. But
Yeah.
in addition to that, there's also the triple where you get it on voice, CW, and FT8.
yeah, I would obviously not get it on
Hey,
CW
Dave.
at this point. That's right, Dave.
So actually, it's not that hard to do. So I wanted to kind of put a public service announcement out there. If you're trying to learn CW, do a contest for sure. You might think it's really super high pressure, but the station calling. So let's say it's K3R for Rhode Island. I don't know. I'm making it up. They're going to sit there and go K3R QRZ, K3R QRZ, K3R QRZ. You're going to hear that over and over and over and over and over again. You're going to get your opportunity to hear K3R, K3R, K3R,
like that.
K3R, and finally pick up on it. When you finally do pick up on it, all you have to do is send your call sign and 599 back. You know, your call sign, your state, and 599. So you know your half of the exchange, and you hear their half over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's actually really good practice.
That's pretty good because then it would be I like that idea. I love that idea because it's going to be the exact same exchange. So
Yep.
you can hear him do the exchange with other people and start getting it. I like that. Oh, I'm going to have to whip
so
out the key and work on that next week.
Yours is going to be WT1W, and then he's going to answer you, and you should be able to pick up on your own call sign with enough practice. And then you're going to reply back saying, WT1W 5NN AL K, the letter K, like I'm done talking back to you, or BK if you want to be fancy about it. And then he's going to say QSL 73 or whatever the rest of the exchange is, and then you just do 2 E's, dit. They say, got it, bye, out the door.
Oh yeah, TO with the CW cheat codes. I like that. That is genius. You are way smarter than you look, Steve. I mean,
Well,
just saying.
just time in the hole, man. I'm just a few seconds ahead of you.
I never thought about that.
Thank you,
that is
Christopher.
Genius, dude. Chris, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. This morning the electric is all powered by battery because I got my Steve Vai fan on to give me the look, and everything
Yeah.
while I'm out here.
Rockstar.
and y'all get to see hay trailers driving by. And fortunately, my neighbor who mows lawns has already left with his drama this morning. He's got a
Yep.
big truck like TO's that wah 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 wah.
So it's the same thing, by the way, on a state QSO party. The state QSO party
Yeah.
is going to throw in a little tiny variable where each station is going to give out their county, the 3-letter county abbreviation, depending on the QSO party. And then it's the same thing with hunting POTA or hunting soda. It's a known exchange. I've got a video on my channel about, cheating
right.
your way into successful CW type stuff. And the big deal is that it's just a known exchange, and they give it to you over and over again, and you don't feel distressed. Like I still really hate I hate rag choose in voice mode. I hate them even more in CW mode. I have no idea. Like I don't care what your station is. I don't care what your antenna is. I don't care what the weather is. I don't care what you had for breakfast. So
Yes, Lee. Everything up to the road. There's a road there, and
as far
Where
as
I'm-
the eye can see.
it goes over here to this side off camera about another 20 feet. We're on about an acre and a half, give or take. And then we have my backyard is fairly large, and we have my
Jim's talking
brother-in-law
about his large backside.
has cattle, so they're in the pasture that's behind
that's
and to
nice.
the side of my house. So.
Let them just graze on your land, and then you don't have to cut that grass either.
Well, I don't mind them the grazing. It's the output issues, and then apparently ants love
Fertilizer.
those things. So
Chickens. Then you get free eggs.
yeah, then I have a chicken coop, and no. Mm-mm. Yeah, Lee, I don't have a big enough yard for if I did, I would totally have a John Deere with a cab and air conditioning, but it takes me about an hour and a half if I mow and weed eat, and I don't weed eat. I
Nope.
let the guy. I mow every other week, and I pay a guy to mow the other opposite weeks. He does the weed eating. I ignore the weed eating at this point.
I got really good
So-
at circling the trees. If you do it with the discharge chute on the outside, you can put the mower deck right up against the tree.
Exactly
I am never weed eating, ever. I don't even want to own one.
And the beauty of my mower, I have a zero turn, and I guess they're all probably like this. The chute is on the right side, right? So with the
Yep.
zero turn, it's just like NASCAR. Go fast, turn left. Problem solved. The tricky part is mowing along the barbed wire, because you got to be a little careful with the left side arm, or you might lose some hide. But
Yep. And then I try to do it so that, depending on how
Right,
long
Scott.
it's been since I last cut the grass, and at this point it's been almost 3 years since I last cut grass, I'll have the discharge go to the inside of the cut, so I'll make the right turn instead, and that constantly moves the cut grass farther and farther inward. So if you're the kind of person that picks up grass, then you have like one line of grass to pick up, not 300 lines of grass to pick up.
yep, it's like rolling hay or raking hay. You get it all into windrows, and then it's a whole lot
Yep.
faster to roll that mess up. Yeah. I hate weed eating. I hate it. Hate it.
See you,
I
Ronnie.
hate yard work. It's just terrible. Ronnie, take care, brother. See ya. So I didn't really have too much of a plan today. Potentially, I was going to get the radio plugged in for the show, and we'd field day on the show, but that's just not going to happen yet. Mostly because I couldn't get set up last night because of the storms. But so my plan today is to finish a video, and then I've got a new antenna, new to me, that I want to do a video on, and I've got part of it shot, and I'm going to be doing the outside portion of that after this show this morning. And then I hope to set up out here. I've got my battery, got my radio, all that ready to go. I just need to plug it up and go. But you're moving today.
I am going to
It looks
Colorado.
like some of these guys are already planning to do some more field day today. So, Steve, I never heard that. I rode a bike for years. I never knew it was a problem. I'm not saying it ain't. I just never knew it was a problem. I worry more about random gravel on country roads, but I mow that way anyway, downhill, away from the road, because the mower works better that way on that slope. Because you can't see it, but there's a pretty awesome slope over there on the ditch next to the road. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a pain in the butt.
So Newer's got a good question here. Yeah, I agree with you. You don't do a whole lot of work to pass that message back and forth, but the goal from the contest creator standpoint, because we did this with the FT8 off a long time ago, was to encourage a certain kind of behavior. It's kind of the same thing with taxes. They're trying to encourage you to create a business, so that way everything that you spend for the business is tax avoided. So that, it's an encouragement. It's not a discouragement.
Well, and
Conspiracy. I get it. Jim's
Yeah.
not actually outside.
no, this is outside, fellas. This is as outside as it gets. If I lean back, it burns me. See, that's the sun.
I almost thought you were going to fall over.
No,
Oh,
Field day at Jim's
thank you, Doc.
next year. No. I like you guys, but no, I don't want you all
Actually-
in my bathroom stinking it up.
I bet Jim would be more interested in field day someplace outdoors that's not, 87% humidity and 9,000 degrees.
Right. Unfortunately, where I live, I have to drive many hours to get to somewhere where it's not. I mean, ACK is like 200 miles north of me, and it's still sweaty hot where he's at. And then Aloysius is in Louisiana, which is close to Texas, which is apparently where the heating element for the planet is during the summertime, at least the United States. But yeah,
I spent a month and
that's
a
right.
half in Louisiana after Huntsville Hamfest the first time I went out. Not doing that anymore.
I've been to Louisiana several times.
Nice place.
To Nolens once or twice, and Mississippi several
It
times.
is. Chavez is right. He doesn't even know how right he is, but he's right. It's the last stream on Jim's channel before the end of the month. So get your membership milestone super chats out, guys.
That's
If
right.
you're a member, you get a free super chat every month.
And in not this Wednesday, but Wednesday next week after.
You just changed mics.
Really?
Yeah, and you're squealing.
Squealing.
And now you changed back. Something happened.
That's weird.
Yeah, you got real tinny and squealing and high pitched. And I wouldn't have interrupted you, except it hurt my ears. When you talk,
I
it
don't
hurts
know.
my ears, Jim.
I'm not your wife.
Right?
I don't know. It says it's on the right mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
When
had
you
to try-
moved, it switched back. There was a definite switch over, switch back.
That's weird. These things came out of the charger, so they are charged fully, and they last 4 or 5 hours on a charge. Winter field day. Now that's an interesting thought. I need to study on when it is, but I anticipate there would be a live show on winter field day weekend, unless it's pouring down rain here, which is entirely a possibility. Let's see. 91 up where Steve is at.
Jeez. Sorry. It's going to be cold and rainy next week in Colorado. And by cold, I mean like 70s. Which it was in the high 90s. It was 104 on the thermometer yesterday here.
Wow.
And you just switched again.
I'm literally not doing anything.
And then you touch it and it gets better.
That's just strange.
Steve is saying it's the
transmitter
last
is-
weekend of January.
Yeah, that's hell. It may be 70 degrees here by the last weekend of January. Being Alabama, it's entirely possible.
In Wisconsin, we didn't start to get warmth again until February if we were lucky, and that changed the last couple of years. It's the whole maple syrup season. It's got to be below freezing at night and above 40 during the day in order for the sap to run.
Christopher, it could be. It could be. Although I'm wearing a lightweight fishing shirt with no t-shirt on underneath, so if I hold my arms out like this,
Oh, I
I
can
look like
smell
an
it.
angel. I look like an angel. This
You
is
do.
a shirt from when I was much bigger. It's actually quite large on me. So it's airy. I can keep some ventilation moving. I mean, I'm amazed. Doc said it's pretty hot up there in Philly. Now we're all giving weather reports. 100% humidity.
The Sunday morning ham church net.
Yeah, no doubt.
Accidental puffy
Yeah.
shirt. Yeah.
So if it's raining in South Mississippi, that means it'll be raining here in a little while, I suppose. So on a completely different note, now that we've covered weather, we haven't hit health problems yet, but
I'm
I'm
feeling
good.
pretty good. Yeah.
I'm feeling fine.
So you said
I
you were
was
jumping at Huntsville Hamfest. So
yes.
that keys into your weight loss journey.
Well, I was losing the weight anyway, but now that I'm not 320 fluffy pounds, down to
Fluffy.
about two, down to about 248, 245, somewhere in there. I am within Carlos's window for being jump eligible. I really would like to get down to 200 or less. I mean, like my Air Force active duty weight, but I don't know that that's going to happen. But you know, it's amazing. I didn't realize how much I had lost until Ape said something to me on a stream one morning. And he asked me, son, are you on the heroin diet or something? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, my old lady notices that you're a lot skinnier. No heroin, just modern chemistry. And I went back and looked at some of my old videos, and I'm like, I was a lot chunkier.
Well, they put all the stuff into the foods to make you want to buy them, which then
Yeah.
makes you larger. And now they're starting to put all the foods, all the chemicals into the insurance side, the medical side of things, to make you lose the weight. So
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever happened to real food?
I think the one thing that annoys me about the whole process is that it's not covered under insurance. So if you're diabetic, which I am not, I can't even get squint and become diabetic. My doctor looked, he tried to squint, and he said, your A1C is fine. You're not even close enough for pre-diabetes. You're good. I don't know how, but you're good. So those drugs, those diabetic drugs for managing A1C, Wegovy, Ozempic, Kilimanjaro, whatever it's called, something like that. Those are all covered under insurance for diabetes, but they are not covered under insurance for weight loss. And interestingly enough, your insurance is also kind of based on your weight. Certainly if you buy third-party insurance, they're going to look at your age and weight and go, you're a chunky boy. You can probably die sooner.
Yep.
So I don't know when they're going to ever put it on there. I hope they do, because
We're
it's
more
a little
likely
pricey.
to pay out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. And Newer said he's lost 90 pounds. Yeah, I'm pushing about 75 pounds right now. 70, 75 pounds down. Which is interesting, And I can't really tell because I still look at me and think I'm a chunk. Jonathan, that's genius. I should have thought of that. Except I've been on this for a year now, so that wouldn't fly.
Got to get yourself some skinny clothes. Get you some skinny jeans and a tight shirt. One of those muscle shirts.
Right. I don't know that I'm going to go that far. I was thinking about walking around Huntsville, Montesano in my Speedo just to share with everybody my weight loss, but
The Borat suit.
yeah. The ball slingshot. No, I think we'll pass on that.
Trebuchet.
And Bill said he's lost 40 pounds with no meds. Obviously you can. You have to eat less. I've been using Wegovy, and this is not sponsored by Wegovy, and I'm not a physician, so you should consult with your own physician and don't think anything some knucklehead on YouTube says to you about medical advice. And if this is a true emergency, you should call 911 immediately and hang up. Thank you.
Right. Please hang up.
But the Wegovy has helped me. My problem has always been, number one, I don't exercise because it's too damn boring. I can't stand it. It's boring. But I enjoy eating way too much. And the Wegovy has helped reduce my calorie intake. And that has been the biggest thing. And I'm hoping that when and if I stop Wegovy, which I probably will, I'm hoping in another year, that I can maintain that lower input. Before, where one bowl of chili for dinner would be sufficient, I find that 2 bowls is better. Or a second helping of spaghetti or whatever, Or a fried appy and a steak and a baked potato loaded at the steak place. I just
That's
ate
the
too
hard
much.
thing. My
Yeah.
parents literally, I mean, I grew up Catholic, so my parents literally beat me into finishing everything that was on my plate.
Same here.
And
I'm not
so
Catholic, but yeah.
I have some of the Catholic guilt, and if I go someplace and they put food on my plate, I have to eat it.
Yeah. I I'm getting over that. I'm getting over that. Hamman's on Kilimanjaro. Moonjaro, that's it. I could not think of it. I was like, I thought it was Moonjaro, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So my trick is to go out. If we're going out to eat, I go out at lunch, and then I'll know that I can at least pack away three-quarters of it for another week's worth of meals.
And what I've done, the biggest thing, this does sound like 80 meters a little bit. So I don't eat breakfast except on Saturday and Sunday. I don't eat nothing for breakfast.
Right.
My breakfast is coffee and Diet Dr. Pepper. And then lunch used to be a ham and cheese sandwich and a small bag of potato chips. And then I got rid of the potato chips. Then I got rid of the cheese. Now I got rid of the ham sandwich, and my lunch these days is an apple and a Nature Valley peanut butter granola bar thing. That's my entire lunch. And I'm full. Dinner, still a bit of a problem sometimes. 9:30 snack attack, a little bit
Yep.
of a problem.
Yeah. That's my other problem is I get bored and then I get hungry.
Yes. Yes. And I need to quit smoking again. And I have quit smoking many times. And when I was in the hospital for 3 days, obviously I'm not smoking in the hospital because this is not the 70s when the doctor walked around with the butt hanging out of his mouth. But I didn't really miss them. And then I got home and I decided I wanted one again because I still had some in my truck. But I think I'm going to quit mostly. Steve and I were talking about this before the show. Cigarettes are like $7 to $8 a pack unless you catch them on sale for the name brand stuff. So you're looking at $300-$400 a month in cigarettes. And
That's a new radio, man.
yeah, yeah. In 2 months, 3 months, that's a FTX 1 or a 705. And that's what I'm burning on cigarettes. Now, the problem I have, I like smoking. I enjoy smoking. YouTube's probably going to unmonetize this because I said that, and you should not smoke. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm a knucklehead on YouTube. So we should talk about something quasi-ham related today. We have talked about field day. Steve, do you have any ham related rants that you need to share with the people?
Get off my chest.
Share with us this morning, Brother Steve.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I have to share is the old saw about, how radio manufacturers, especially the big three from the other foreign country, ooh, lighten up, are, now lowering
outside.
themselves below the Chinese standard of quality. So the new FTX that came out is not as good. And then a lot of people are getting that new N7600 that came out yesterday. I want to say, Jonathan, I got your email, and then I got the email from Vero saying it's come out, and then I got the email from Vero saying we need you to promote this one because you promoted the hell out of the last one. I'm like, yeah, I worked. I earned my. I showed up for work that day. I did my job. So hopefully the shipping gods will align, and I'll get it 2 weeks from now.
Do you have any deets on it? Have you got pictures? Is it on the website or anything we can look at?
There are. Let me pull it up because there are some pictures on it, and it does actually look really good. And I got a
See you, Chuck.
5% off discount code, $5 off discount code.
While you're pulling that up, and Jonathan texted me yesterday several times or the day before, and I'm sorry I hadn't answered you, buddy. I've been busy this weekend, but well, go on. Let's talk about the 7600.
Yeah, so the price is
back.
pretty high. I mean, the 7500 was like 130 or so, and this one's 338. But the difference that you get is this sexy microphone with the built-in screen, and it's the same screen that's on the UV Pro, the N76, and the N75, and the Radioddity GA5WB. This radio is designed to be used with an Android app or an iPhone app. And so there are no controls on the front of the radio by design. You just bury this thing away and forget about it, and then you can do a lot of stuff from the screen once you get it programmed, but it's really designed for you to work on it with a tablet or something like that. And then the list of features is crazy. I'm sure it comes unlocked because the other one was unlocked. The
So
N70
pre-Mars modded.
Yeah, but I can't guarantee it because I don't have it in my hands yet. But it's dual band radio, Bluetooth, GPS, compass, speedometer for a premium experience. It also has a gyroscope in it, which is going to be interesting. It does do smart beaconing. They just updated the firmware on that. So all of the things that are in the N76 handheld are going to be in the N7600 mobile.
Nice.
And then due to the closed nature of Apple's system, some of the above features are only available on an Android. And so that's true. So I will tell you, Walmart has a cheap 10-inch tablet, about $100, that will probably work out well on this. And I've been debating whether or not to get it. And then you can get a Android cell phone for, $25-$30.
Yeah.
And then you
Now,
have
see,
a
I'm lucky
Bluetooth
there,
speaker
'cause
mic handheld.
The old lady is an Android girl, so I get her cast-offs since I buy her cast-offs. So I have a old Android phone. She's probably due for an upgrade pretty soon.
What is she doing? Is she going to hook the old lady just got in the truck? I'm worried.
Tell her not to move the truck or hit the big plug.
Yeah, because once you hit the off button, we're off to the races.
That is
I think
sweet.
she's doing air conditioning. Yeah, tons of stuff. I mean, it's got all the same features, so it's going to have that Bluetooth KISS TNC in it. They did just update the Mic E stuff, so I need to do a video on that, which is probably going to come out sometime next week, because that's in the HT, and it's going to still apply to this one. And then transmit on 2 and 70. That's a graphic. Interesting. And then receive FM radio, air band, ham band, general coverage from 174 to 225. General coverage from 300 to 400. It's weird how they skip out on certain frequencies. 226 to 299. Apparently you can't hear there. And then 400 to 520. RX only. Well, see, they did. They put it there.
That might be a legal thing.
Yeah.
Like the fire department is on 453 here. The UHF radios are. And the SINAD listings, that's interesting. I don't have any way to test anything here with SINAD. That's a pain in the butt to do. That looks pretty sweet. And that price is steepish. Does that microphone, so on the microphone, does it plug into the base, I assume?
It plugs into the base because this is all you get is these two pieces and a power cord.
Dang it. I mean, I guess with that setup, there's no other way to do it anyway, but darn it.
But you don't even need this microphone. Like I said, you can just use an Android.
Right. And they sold, and they probably still do, sell a Bluetooth mic. So I would assume that you can use their Bluetooth mic with this as well.
They do sell the Bluetooth mic, and they had a really cool, they had like a little tiny HT looking thing. They don't sell it anymore. They were sold out, but it's got a display on it. It's completely Bluetooth, and it looks like an HT, but it's not. All it is a Bluetooth speaker mic for the radio. And I still want to get my hands on one of those, but they discontinued it. So off to eBay.
Scott's got a question. Is that a super het radio?
I don't know. So there's a couple of different receiver technologies, and I know that they exist, like direct up conversion, direct down conversion, super het, or another 10 or 15 different other kinds, but I can't hear a difference.
And Ken points out they're still selling the 7500. I've had one of those. We gave it away on the Coffee and Ham radios a long time ago, but the 7500 is the same kind of setup as this.
Mm-hmm. This is the 7500.
That's the 7500.
Yep.
And it's gone up. I think I paid $150 for mine, $160 maybe. And it's a great radio. It works fine, and it's the same kind of deal. You set it up with the app, and it does the thing. So if you're looking for something like that, that may be an option. It's a little cheaper. So, but
And the
it
app is
doesn't
actually
have.
really
Go ahead.
cool.
Yeah,
This
they've
this one's in
upgraded that
Chinese
app a
because it's a
lot.
Chinese company. Yeah, this is an old photo too.
Yeah.
But you can when you use it in the US, it comes in US language. But you see the green button at the bottom here, your phone becomes a Bluetooth speaker mic. And then it will actually record the audio if you wanted it to.
Hmm.
And then APRS, Digipeater, and iGate.
Yep. They've upgraded a lot of the features on that from when I had the 7500 on that app. That looks much newer than the. Why did you start Apple Music?
Yeah, your audio
Apple,
is going crazy today.
I don't. All of a sudden, Apple Music just popped up in the middle of the screen. Not now. I mean, I would love to hear Freebird today, but not now.
Yeah. And something I want to try, but I don't, I mean, other than because I can, I don't really have a good use case for it. The, what's it called? The, they make a rear view mirror camera that is Android based for your car, and connecting the Android app on the Android rear view mirror to this radio would be pretty cool.
That would be swank. AFL says he has one on his bikes, on his bike. I guess a rear view
And I'm
camera
working
or a
on getting you
Hero.
guys the link with the discount.
Well, they did such a great job with the N76. I'm going to end up having to buy one of those. I might try and email those people and say, "Hey, I know TO. Can I get a better
Those
discount?"
people.
Or the Vero people.
Right.
So, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick today, I don't want to make it a long thing, and we're almost out of time anyway. I was going to talk a little bit about remote controlling your radio. And there are, because somebody had asked me about this the other day, and I can't remember who it was now, but there are a number of ways to remote control radios, especially
Tons.
more modernish HF radios. The first piece is, can you turn the radio on and off remotely? Because to stay compliant with our rules, you need to be able to disconnect yourself if that thing's causing problems, right? So the easiest way to do that is a smart plug on your power supply, and then your radio hopefully will come on at some point when you turn on the power supply. And I know also on stuff like a 7300, it will not come on when you turn on the power supply, but with the USB cable connected in software, you can make it come on. And I know that works with Ham Radio Deluxe, and I think that works with FL Rig as well, and possibly WFU and some of the other ICOM control software.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the deets on all the radios, because I used to remote a 991 and a 7300 all the time. But it's pretty easy to do. The biggest piece for most people, and Steve has done this a bunch, you see him do it on Nuggets frequently, you can use VNC, which is mostly free, depending on which version of VNC you have. Chrome Remote Desktop is also a possibility. You can get a little more control with a paid program. I use Remote PC from remotepc.com, and that's an annual fee of about $60 and lets you manage, control remote up to 10 PCs. And the beauty of that over VNC, I'm not sure about Chrome Remote Desktop because I haven't played with it in forever. The app runs on the PC you want to control remotely, and then obviously you have to run it on the other end's PC. And that gives you full access to your PC, including file transfers and chat and screen control, and you can print and send sound and all that between that remote PC link. It works beautifully. And that's what I use. And I also help a bunch of friends with PC issues. So I just make them install that so I can remote in when they need me to do it. But that is a great thing. The other option, and Elodie mentioned Tailscale. Yes, Tailscale will work. Any VPN between the remote side and your home side is fine. I have TwinGate, and I use TwinGate as well. Now, I use TwinGate from my machine at work home so I can access everything, not just my PC. But those are some of the pieces you can use, and there's, like I said, there's 20 ways to slice and dice remote access to your home PC and fence to your radio. So you can tell this is an elevated stream, Steve, because I said the word fence in a sentence.
Yes.
And it just kind of depends on what your use case is and you know how you're going to access the radio. But the key to all of it is a smart plug, and being able to turn it on and off the power supply. And so, for example, my Flex setup, I can run the Flex software on my computer at work. And over my VPN, I can talk directly to the Flex stack that's in my shop building just fine. I can also remote to a PC at my house and then run the Flex radio software from there because I'm using the VPN or remote PC, either way. And so there's a lot of things you can do like that. So, for example, my Flex setup, I have a smart plug that powers the power supply, and that power supply powers the tuner and the radio. And so I can turn it on and off with Alexa. Alexa, order cat litter from everybody. I'm outside, so mine can't hear me. I just lit up a bunch of Alexas. I'm sorry, I had to do that, y'all. Anyway, and then I have the amplifier is on a separate 220 volt higher current remote switch that's Wi-Fi smart switchable. So I can turn on the on and off the amp directly, and then the power supply for the other two pieces, the tuner and the radio, with a smart switch. And that's the first step, is doing that, is being able to switch the power on and off on your devices. And then it's a matter of VPN software, Tailscale, TwinGate, WireGuard, however you want to do it. A lot of Soho routers now have VPN termination capability built into them, which is also a great way to go. There's also another VPN I wanted to mention. I can't, Tamagotchi, something like that. I don't remember the name. Right, some of them say I don't use Alexa as the wake word. I don't on one of mine. The one in our bedroom responds to computer. I would change the other ones to respond to computer, but when I'm on a live stream with you guys, we probably say the word computer 50 times, and my Alexa would be going off a whole lot. So, but yeah, it's CJ. That's or not CJ. Chris. It's the same kind of setup. He's doing the same thing I'm doing. I've got smart switches to turn power on and off the various things, and once I've got the power on, then I can access them over my local network via a remote setting or to remote into a PC here. So there's a whole lot of ways to do that. And you know, we may talk about it on Nuggets one night, or I may do a whole show one Sunday morning on and demo some of the remote stuff. But I mean, it's all fairly straightforward, honestly. I have never used Tailscale, and a lot of people talk about that. And it's supposed to be pretty easy to set up. I don't know.
Well, now that you've got that Starlink, you probably should figure out how to do the CG NAT for the Flex radio. That would be a good video.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to.
Because you have the other non-Starlink connection.
Well, that too, but remote PC works over Starlink just fine. I already tested that. I can remote into my stuff over the Starlink network to remote PC.
Right, that's to remote the PC on the radio side of the equation, but Flex, you run the Flex software natively on your local computer to you in your hotel room through the VPN to get past the CG NAT to get to your radio at home without the extra computer at home.
Well, I can do that too because TwinGate will VPN into it because I'm running the twin gate connector on my local LAN, and it does the tunneling out similar to remote PC.
Yeah.
So they find each other over the internet and do their thing. I think I've tested twin gate over Starlink. I can't remember. I believe
And
I
that's what that
did, but
monthly charge is for these kind of remote services is so you can do all of this by yourself. You can open up the rules on your firewall, you can get yourself a domain name, or you can use something like dynamic DNS in
right,
order to continuously publish your IP address, your public facing IP address, not your computer's actual IP address to the internet so that you can then find it, or you can take a note of what it is, run a command on your computer, go to ipchicken.com, and it'll tell you your current public facing IP address, and then write that down on a piece of paper and go out of your house and try and connect to it. Or you can pay this $60 a year fee to have that all done for you.
right. And I mean, I'm in IT. That's what I do. I'm also IT support for a crowd of misfit people who can't work their own computers. So it's just useful for me to have that. And John, they also do, so Unify, which is what I run here, is all Unify gear. They do WireGuard, but they also do OpenVPN. So that's also real useful. And then I have private internet access VPN, and I've set up PIA on the firewall. So the firewall is always connected to private internet access as VPN, and then I can either policy route myself out, or I could put the PIA VPN in its own subnet and do it that way. But that's more for outbound access, not necessarily for inbound access. But that'll also get you around CGNet. And the Flex software should work that way as well, I believe, maybe. But there's a whole bunch of ways to do it. And again, I'm in IT. Steve is in IT, so it's kind of our jam. But believe me, and this is what the point of even mentioning this stuff is, it's a lot easier to do than you would imagine.
Right.
Because things have gotten much simpler in the last 5 or 10 years with setting up a remote VPN. And we were talking about Unify firewall equipment, but I mean, I believe some of the other vendors that you would buy the stuff at Best Buy, and I'm trying to think of who, and I can't, probably Linksys and TP-Link and several of those other ones have VPN termination capability in the router itself. So OpenVPN is kind of a standard. That's what OpenVPN is, or WireGuard, either one. Pretty easy
Right,
to
Brian?
set up. Not like setting up an IPsec VPN site to site back in the day where you had to get 52 parameters exactly correct. Yeah, CJ, and CJ makes a good point. There's ways around this. If you know what you're doing, it's fine. If you don't, be careful, but
Don't do it. Yeah.
don't do it.
Well, what'll happen is you'll wind up going to your bank account's website on one of your computers one day, and somebody's already in your network sniffing around, and now they've got they have your IP address, they have your password, and just because you have two-factor authentication doesn't matter, because now they're just going to spoof your IP to your bank and impersonate you. It's a mess. Don't do it.
Yep. And John makes a couple of excellent points here that I want to reiterate. Asus, that's the other one I was trying to think of. Thank you, John. Asus has some good routers that do VPNs natively. And if you look on OpenWRT, I believe that's the right URL.
Yep.
That is third-party firmware that will upgrade a whole lot of consumer routers and add a whole lot of very sexy capability, including VPN termination. OpenWRT project came about when Linksys WRT 54G, the blue-gray routers, were the thing for everybody. And they made those just way better for a cheap router. Then also, on a lot of consumer routers, they have a DMZ button. And that puts you in basically an isolated enclave. We call it a VLAN. That machine is open to the internet potentially, but nothing else on your network is. So there's a lot of ways to mitigate some of this stuff. CJ's not wrong, but there's a whole lot of ways around that to skin that chicken that it's not a problem. And there's sometimes you just can't avoid it with different things. Aloysius, that's exactly right. Nobody will bother you. Oh, I'm an HR professional. Yeah.
No, you're not.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Well, that'll keep them from talking to you. I imagine being a doctor like Brad, right? Random people want to tell you about their health problems so they can get your free opinion, or a lawyer, right? So my cousin, he got this charge for doing the thing, and I need to get him out. Can you help me out with that?
My cousin.
Being an IT guy is exactly like that. Random people tell you their IT problems all the time.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, GL iNet, yes. And GL iNet makes some good stuff. I bought one of their KVMs recently, and I've got it on a headless Mac Pro running Linux Mint. It works great.
Christopher's saying an IT class at Montesano. Christopher, let us know what you want to see, and we'll figure it out. There's a room in the Toads Discord called Huntsville-FDIA, so stick it in there, and if you have any specific questions, because, thousands of things in IT, and we'll probably spend an hour and a half doing an IT class and not answer the question that you had.
Right. Dave says he's an HR nightmare. I'm the reason we have safety briefings, Dave.
Yeah, your browser history suggests that you might be an unstable character in our work environment.
Right. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of ways to do things, and I am all for doing an IT class, but it would need to be very focused because, like maybe we'll do how to remote your machine and kind of demo some of that. And I hate to say this, please forgive me, Brother Steve, but some of that stuff really requires slides.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Mostly just...
Lee, we're going to miss you for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
6-meter FT8 is open.
I'll have to give it a shot. I've got one FT8 contact on 6 meters, and that was several years ago. Show us your shirt, buddy. We can't see
this
it.
is the ham radio. It's a hobby, not a service.
Yep, that's right. I don't have mine on today. It was in the wash.
Do handouts instead. Nice.
Yeah,
we'll do paper points instead of PowerPoints.
Anyway,
ham radio origami.
Well, guys, that's all I think we're going to do for today, for this morning, because T.O. has to pack up and roll on out.
I do. Roll out.
Now, how far is your next destination?
I'm going from Scottsbluff, Nebraska to Pine, Colorado. So about 3 hours, 4 hours, because I'm towing. Always takes an extra hour to get there.
Right. So that's not too bad. And then you're live streaming with Hayden tonight at 6 Central Time.
Yep, everybody's starting to get their Toads digital interface boards in hand, and so we're going to show everybody how to wire it up.
Awesome. So you guys are going to live solder?
Breadboard. So no soldering yet. I guess there would have to be soldering to get the header or
the board, yeah.
Or do the direct wiring, but I think Hayden's already got that part done.
Right. All right. Well, that ought to be great. I'm going to hit the button.
Fellers.
Y'all 73. Have a great day.
Bye.
Go do some field day. Button engaged.